How do you teach towards an academic standard, especially writing? Standards are a fact of educational life. Let's take a look at them. Defining our terms first. An academic standard defines what skills students should be able to do or what knowledge they should have. Now, we're not really teaching an academic standard. We're teaching towards it. It defines the skill or describes the body of knowledge. For example, write opinion pieces on a topic or text. Support a point of view with reasons. That's what students should be able to do. Now, here's the thing about academic standards, and especially the Common Core standards. They're more silly than not, especially the literacy standards. I'm a literacy guy. You wonder who puts them together. Someone outside the classroom is defining what your students should know and be able to do. These are Common Core reading standards. Refer to details and examples in a text. We just want to teach the kids how to create meaning with print. And most of the standards related to literacy, reading, and writing have nothing to do with this. Absolutely silly. Too many standards. Now, a few standards are good. That doesn't mean more standards are better. You can't standards your way to good education. You can't standards your way to learning. It makes no sense. It is a Humpty Dumptyan approach. Take the complex act of reading, take the complex act of writing, break it into little parts like Humpty Dumpty, and you create a reader and writer by putting all the little parts back together again. It just does not make sense. That is not how human beings learn. We do not learn best from part to whole. We learn from whole to part. Immerse them in the act of reading and writing and teach the skills as they are ready. This Humpty Dumptyan approach does not reflect what years and years of research has shown how human beings learn best. It doesn't reflect that. And here's the thing. We should never, as teachers, abdicate our responsibility to be teachers. The standards should never become the curriculum. A curriculum is a pre-planned series of knowledge and skills. We think this is important. We're going to teach it here. Too often in K-12 and in teacher preparation programs, the standards become the curriculum. And here's the thing. The standards don't know our students. They don't know the context that they come from, the context that they're in, the context that they will be in. So how dare someone outside our classroom should define exactly what students should know and in what order. Standards should never become the curriculum. Do not allow it to become the curriculum. Standards can inform the curriculum, absolutely. Here's the standards. Teachers, we know what our students need because we are creative, intelligent teachers with lots of knowledge and education. So yes, we look at the standards, but then we use the standards to inform us and our curriculum and a body of knowledge. So it's a constant back and forth. We use a body of knowledge. We know our knowledge of students and our pedagogical knowledge that informs the teachers and the lesson. Back and forth. Standards can and should inform the curriculum, but should never become the curriculum. And too often, that's exactly what happens. Oh my gosh, it's a standard. We have to teach it this way. Well, standards may describe a specific product, and I'm looking at standards related to writing. They describe what the end product is, but never the topic. So yes, students have to write an opinion piece on topics or texts. It doesn't say what that topic or text is, and we must always keep that in mind, especially with writing. It does not define a topic, just what the end product is. So, being good teachers, we're going to find topics that engage our students. The topic is wide open. Some standards, most of the standards related to writing, I'm looking at the Common Core state standards that most schools have adopted, spend just a minute bit of time on teaching the writing process And that's what writing is. You teach the process. These standards focus only on the product. And look at this one. Write narratives and other creative text to develop real or imagined experiences, events. When in your real adult life have you had to do this? Now, creative writing is great. Absolutely. It's a means to an end. The end is being able to use words for impact, to transmit ideas from your head to others, to think. But to write creatively, that's fun. It's interesting. It gets students involved. But that should not be an end state, because in our adult lives, we've never had to write creative text. I've never had to look for characters and sequence of events and techniques and dialogues and description and pacing. I love all these things. I think there needs to be art within the language arts, but that should not be an end state in and of itself. Now, here are some of the writing benchmarks. You can see them here. Write opinion pieces, grades 3, grades 4, they add on it, grade 5, a little bit more. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. However, again, the topic is wide open. Write informative, explanatory text to examine, absolutely. Gives us some ideas on what to teach. The only place on these Common Core standards, this is the only thing where it addresses use a writing process to develop and strengthen writing as needed. Planning, okay. If you know anything about writing and teaching writing, you don't give it a little sentence that's highlighted here at the end. That is the main thing. That's what gets you to these good products. And the focus here on these Common Core state standards, this is what tells me it's a bit clownish, designed by clowns who know nothing of writing and teaching of writing. They think they're going to standards their way to good education. All right, you can see them. Conduct a short research project. All right, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That is a product, but you can't get there without teaching the process. So let's take a sane approach to addressing an insane thing and the Common Core state standards. You know, we live in this standards world. I hope someday that teachers begin to take back their profession. But step one is to break down the standard. Okay, this is grade 3. We want to write an opinion piece. What exactly is it asking us to do? And again, this topic is wide open. So I'm going to look for a topic or something that is of interest to my students, not just some random abstract thing. I want something that my students feel passionate about for them to write an opinion. How else can you write an opinion? You have to have an opinion to be able to write an opinion. So that's the start. And we are teaching. Teach, teach, teach. That's the important thing about the standards. Academic standards are learned over time. This opinion piece, at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 or 4, on teaching opinion writing over time. And if I'm doing my job right as a teacher, I'm teaching the process as well as the product. All my students should be successful with this if I'm doing my job right. As I said, in all of these Common Core state standards, the topic is wide open. So you want to keep it relevant. Ask students to write about things that they are interested in. You are allowing for choice. Allowing for choice. And choice could be choice of topic, choice of genre, sometimes, as long as they write an opinion piece at some point, but choice to the greatest extent possible. In good teaching, you create scaffolds. And graphic organizers are one way to do this. This is an example of a scaffold. And a scaffold is a temporary structure. And as you learn to write opinions, the structure, the scaffold is taken away. This is an example of something you might do. Topic or problem, background information, things you know, your opinion, and reasons, 1, 2, 3. And here are some supporting transition words and then a conclusion of some sort. Very formulaic at first, but that is taken away. Never let the form get in the way of function, by the way. This form, if students want to break from this form and they're creating an effective opinion piece, that's fine. Too often, like the 5-paragraph essay. Okay, you get so tied into 5 paragraphs that it becomes mush. Say what you want to say. The structure should support the message. The structure should never become the message. All right, and again, I've hit this time and again. Write an opinion piece. It doesn't say opinion on what. Finding an opinion that students want to write about is key. You can't write an opinion on something about which you do not have an opinion. So in 3rd grade, I'm going to do lots of opinion lessons to start with this. Assume students know nothing. This is what an opinion is. It's someone's idea. It's what they think. An opinion cannot be right or wrong. It is what you think, and you support your opinion. All right? And I would use lots of direct instruction and modeling. Absolutely. There are places for direct instruction. Should be short, briskly paced. This is an opinion. This is how you write it. Watch me as I write it. And I'm using this nice little structure thing. And I'm modeling for my students. I may already have one written and just show them these pieces, but I am modeling. Then we do an enlarged group. That's called guided practice. We would write an opinion piece. We would do this over 1 or 2 periods. Eventually, I'd have students write in pairs and small groups. I love the conversation. And after a while, students should be able to do this independently, to write an opinion piece. And when I get a sense that all or most students know this, that is when I assess. How do you assess a standard? The actual writing product. You put their opinion piece in a portfolio and you can say, there, see, they can write an opinion. Here it is. And if you want to put numbers on it, if you want to quantify, and some people think if it's not quantified, it doesn't exist, create some sort of checklist. This is just an example based on what you have taught. And I prefer checklists instead of rubrics. Rubrics are just too cumbersome and useless. A checklist says these are the criteria, and you can have check, check plus, check minus, or some sort of number system if you insist on having numbers. Okay, teaching towards a standard. Step 1, define the standard. Step 2, break it down and teach it explicitly.